Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something.
Hi there! Welcome back to another episode of MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next, and if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Well, today, we're going to be working on a boat, and in my last video I had mentioned this. So same fellow with the Subaru traded a generator for this boat. That's a nice boat. It's cool. It's a 69 Caravelle with a 140 horse Mercruiser stern drive, but he said it wasn't running right. He couldn't get it to idle, and it wasn't, you'd have to start it at like 3/4 throttle and all this kind of stuff, and none of that really sounded right when he was explaining it to me. So when he brought his Subaru over, he went ahead and dragged the boat with him and left it with me. So now we're going to get a look at it. So here's our motor, and at first glance it doesn't look too bad. It's kind of pretty looking, but the first thing that you ever do when you go to work on a boat like this, especially if it's a stern drive or inboard like this, first thing you want to do is check the oil and make sure it's clean, doesn't have any water in it, because a lot of times boat owners don't, well, of course it would have been the previous boat owner, because he just got this boat, so he hadn't had a chance to go through a winter with it. But if you don't winterize them properly, then the water will freeze up inside the motor and crack the block. So, and then when you run it out on the lake, you'll get water in the oil. So let's check this one. Rut-row raggy. That looks like a milkshake. That's not good. So, and we're grossly overfilled on oil there. So before we even begin to look and address any of his running concerns, we need to find out why this thing's got a crankcase full of water. So I guess one of the first things we'll do is do a compression check for a blown head gasket, and then we'll move on from there. But one other thing I want to look at too, I want to look at the other side of the motor, the other side of the engine block here, because typically if one of these things ever froze up over the winter, they'll crack on the other side. So let's see what we got over here. I'm going to try and get the camera down in there. And let's have a look around. Hey, that's not a good sign. That looks like epoxy or JB weld. Oh, there's some more over there. Yep. So at some point in this motor's life, somebody didn't winterize it, and it froze up over the winter and cracked the block. Now, these kind of cracks out here aren't terrible because the cooling system isn't pressurized. As long as you can get them epoxied up to where they don't leak, that's okay, and as long as it doesn't weaken the block. But if it cracked on the inside, well, then that's going to be a problem. Alright, so one of the first things I did after noticing all the milky oil was I ran a compression test. Now, the best thing I could find anywhere was as far as compression specs on a 140 Mercruiser or 3.0 is a minimum of 100 psi, and then the lowest cylinder being, you know, at least 70% of the highest cylinder. So basically what we've got is we're technically in spec. I'll show you what I got here. So we got cylinder number 1 at 130 psi, cylinder number 2, that's our low one, at 119, cylinder number 3 at 125, cylinder number 4 at 140. So, and as I said, the best I found information wise on the internet was it should be a minimum of 100 psi. Forums are saying a good strong engine will be around 130-ish in compression. And then of course, you know, the one spec I did find is that the whatever it is, the lowest cylinder should be at least 70% of the highest. In our case, our lowest is 85% of the highest, so technically we're good on compression. We'll see about that. What we're trying to do is try and eliminate anything other than the block, you know, before we just, you know, tear it out, tear it down, and all that. So, and especially for a boat that, you know, he didn't throw a whole lot of money at to get in the first place, and, you know, so who knows. But I don't reckon he's going to want to sink a lot of money in this, because I know a replacement long block is like $3 to $4 grand. So, and buying a used motor, you know, you just never know what you're going to get. So, but the next step is we're going to pull the manifold off and the riser. That's the riser, and we're going to check it. Technically, they say those things have a life expectancy of 5 to 7 years. You know, as far as we have no history on this boat, so we don't know whether this manifold was ever changed or not. So without too much effort, we can pull that off and look at it and see how bad it is inside, and go from there. I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll remove the throttle controls and the carburetor and get that out of the way, and then we'll go after that riser. Okie dokie, now we've got the carburetor off of there and out of the way. Now we'll go after this riser. So we're going to have our 2 9/16 nuts there, which are easy to get at, and then there's 2 underneath back here, which are not quite so easy to get at, but for that reason we have a short stubby wrench that will get in there. We'll have to unhook the big hose clamp to that rubber bellows. Okie dokie. So I got the riser off, and it's definitely getting kind of eat up. I am seeing moisture down in the exhaust here. Not a lot. Let's go have a look over at the engine side of things. I'm seeing water in there. I don't reckon that's good. Alright, let's get this manifold off here and see what we got. So on these motors, the manifold is a combination of both the intake and the exhaust. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, 4 bolts and 2 studs, and they're all 9/16. And these motors are all built pretty much with the intention that you can just have a minimal set of tools with you out on the water, so you can fix these things if you have to get yourself back home. So you know, 1/2-inch socket, 9/16 socket, and likewise with wrenches and a couple of screwdrivers, and you can pretty much fix anything that breaks out here on the water if it's fixable. So alright, let's get this manifold off of here. Alrighty, so we got the manifold off. Now down here inside what I believe to be the exhaust, there's a lot of water. So I don't think that's good, but we'll find out here in a bit. I'm not overly well informed on how these are set up and how they work, but I'm not thinking that's good. So figuring this is a 1969 boat, and they say that the life expectancy of these manifolds is about 5 to 6 years, you can do the math, and I reckon this thing should have had quite a few manifolds put on it by now, but I don't know. So let's get this thing in on the bench where we can get a better look at it and do some research and see what we come up with. So now we have the manifold here in on the workbench, and I'm going to show you some really interesting stuff. Okay, so I'm going to make a snapshot here. And you can see those 2 holes there. There's one big hole and one little hole, and that's where the water is flooding into the exhaust manifold. My guess is that this may be the original manifold on this motor, especially for it to be rusted out that bad. Now I can't see much from the other side. We can try, of anything that's going on over here on this side. It's a little hard to see down in there. But anything, we know we got something bad there. So this manifold's junk. So I'm going to let the owner know, and we'll have to work on trying to get that milky oil out of that motor before it starts rusting anything up. So stay tuned until next time.